Good morning. Today we will continue our discussion related to the types of tunnels. And in the previous lecture, to just quickly give you an overview, so we started with what is tunneling and the advantages of it over the open cut and all that. And the main thing related to the tunnel that we started is the classification of the types of tunnels. And then we looked into some categories, as in we looked into the classification of tunnels based on the purpose, for what purpose we are actually utilizing it. So we saw it that you can use it for transportation, you can use it for conveying some amenities like water supply or drainage or electricity lines. And then you also had defense tunnels in that. And based on the types of tunnels we have seen, or in the types of tunnels we have seen based on the material, what kind of material is there underground. So based on that we have tunnels in hard rock, tunnels in soft rock, and the tunnels in underwater. So the pictures or the photos that you see, those are the photos for each type of the tunnel. So the first one is the tunnel in a hard rock, second is tunnel in a soft rock, and third one is the tunnel underwater. Okay. So the third one is, I told you, it's a combination of a bridge and a tunnel. So we completed our last lecture till here. So today we'll continue from here itself. Now, based on the shape of the tunnel, which is the most important category or the important type or important classification, is what is your or how you can classify a tunnel based on its shape. So the first and obvious shape that everyone will agree, or whenever I say tunnel, the first thing that comes into mind is the tunnel is a hole in the ground. Okay? So that hole is best suited, or the most of the tunnels you see, those are circular shape. Okay? And if you see on the right side, I have shown two photographs. The first one is a line diagram sort of thing for a tunnel. So it's a circular shape, and this circular shape is supported by a concrete lining. So this, what you see here, this is a concrete lining. Okay? And you require the concrete lining because whenever you dig out a portion of earth, so obviously there is a pressure which is acting on the all the faces of that open or excavated portion. So we have seen this in your diaphragm wall construction as well. So same way, whenever you cut out a portion from earth, so the external pressure, the pressure from the adjoining soil, it is going to try and collapse your excavation. So to resist that, you need a lining kind of thing. And this lining, basically it is required when you have such kind of soil which is not stable. Okay, if you cut a portion of that soil, it is not stable, and then you provide a lining. But if it's a tunnel, what you see in this first case, okay, the extreme left, the tunnel in Zion National Park, USA. So here you see this tunnel is excavated in a hard rock. Okay. So that hard rock itself, it is capable of supporting whatever is the weight of the overburden over there. So whatever is the hole excavated here, you see there is no concrete lining. Okay. So concrete lining is generally provided where you have the susceptibility of your roof collapsing. Okay. So I told you in the last lecture also, in tunnels, this roof portion is the most vulnerable to failure. Okay. And once your roof collapses, then your tunnels, it gets blocked, and there is no use of excavating, or whatever excavation you have done, that will go into vain. So that is with the lining. And if you consider where we will use this circular shape, so it is best, or that circular shape, it is best in resisting the internal and external pressures. Okay. So generally, these circular tunnels, they are used to carry water. Okay. So whatever water supply tunnels you will see, those will be the circular tunnels. One of the example we have seen here in this first photograph on extreme left, if you see, it was from Indore. It was a water supply scheme, and if you see the main shape of the tunnel, so it's circular. So why circular? Because a circular cross section, it resists whenever there is a internal pressure as well as external pressure. So internal pressure will be, you have water flowing inside it, so obviously that water is going to exert some pressure. And then on the outside of the tunnel, you have the soil or the earth which is surrounding that tunnel, so that is going to again put some pressure on your tunnel itself. So in this, your circular shape is very well balancing and taking all this kind of pressure. So that's why you see your pipes, whatever are your pipes, small pipes or large pipes for drinking purpose or sewage purpose, those are circular in cross section. Have you ever wondered that why they are circular or why they are not in square or why they are not in rectangle? So the reason is it is good at resisting the pressures. And then it can be constructed in soft soil and soft rocks also. And these shapes, they can be also used for carrying traffic. Now I told you they are best suited for this carrying water, but they are also used for carrying the traffic. But in that case, the inward portion of the tunnels needs to be filled to obtain the level surface. As in, now see the photo on the right side, the first one which I have numbered as 1. So if I have to use this tunnel as a tunnel for road or railway, so what I need is I need to have a level surface at the bottom, because over that itself my railway track will be placed or my pavement will be placed. But a circular tunnel, it will have a circular invert. Okay, invert is nothing but the bottommost level of your tunnel. It is known as the invert level. Okay, so this is the invert level. So for a traffic to go inside the tunnel, you should have a flat invert level. Okay, so this needs to be filled with proper material then, and once it is filled, then only you can place a railway track or you can place a pavement over it, and then your traffic can go on. Okay. So that is the only thing that you have to take care while designing or while deciding the size of your tunnel. Okay. Now suppose you are the designer in this and you are supposed to decide what should be the size of tunnel, and you should be very clear that okay, you are going to use this tunnel for a highway or a railway. So you will be knowing that okay, I will require this much space above the higher or the above the height of your vehicle. So if I have a huge truck which is going to be there in the tunnel, so obviously there should be some clearance between that top edge of the truck and the roof of your tunnel, because you are also going to provide all the ventilation system into it. Okay. So considering all that, and plus considering that if you are providing a circular shape, then you have to sacrifice some of the diameter in this process of filling the invert. Okay. So according to that, you have to design the tunnel. Okay. Now circular tunnel, though I said that it is best in carrying water, but nowadays it is also used for carrying traffic because there is something called TBM, that is tunnel boring machine. We are going to see this in detail, but just to understand for now, this TBM, tunnel boring machine, it is a huge machine which is capable of cutting the rock or excavating the soil. Okay. And generally this machine is of circular shape. Okay. So the cutting face, it is of circular shape. So whenever you have huge quantum of tunneling, okay, and though you are going to use that tunnel for road or railways, but for excavation purpose, this TBM is deployed, so it will cut by default in circular shape. So in that case, you have to be sure that you are getting the sufficient diameter for utilization. So that's the circular tunnel. The second type, which is based on the shape, is the horseshoe or modified horseshoe. Okay. Now both are same, just a bit of a technical or a size variation is there. Okay. So horseshoe, you all know what a horseshoe is. Okay. It looks something like this. So based on this shape itself, the tunnel is named horseshoe shape or modified horseshoe. So on the right side, you can see the diagram as well, line diagrams. So in this, what you have is you can cut it into two portions. The roof portion, this is the roof. So the roof is a semicircular. And whatever are the walls, these are the walls of your tunnel. So these walls, they are curved. Okay. They are not straight, but they are curved. And then talking about the invert, now you know what an invert is. It is the bottommost level of your tunnel. So that invert is almost flat, okay, as compared to your circular, where you have a arc shape invert. Contrary to that, in this horseshoe shaped tunnel, you have almost flat invert. Okay, I'm using the word almost because it's not exactly flat. You have some curve in this also, but the extent of that curve is less. Okay, so you require less filling to make it flat as compared to the circular tunnel. And this curved portion, whatever you have in these walls, so this curved walls will help you resist the internal and external pressure. Now we had seen in circular tunnel that the circular tunnel is best in resisting the pressure, internal and external. Okay. So the only disadvantage in that circular tunnel was you have to fill the invert. Okay. So if I want a clear, suppose this is my height which I can utilize. Suppose it is 5 meters. Okay. So if I can utilize only 5 meter, for that I have to excavate a tunnel of maybe 7 meter or 8 meter if I am excavating a circular tunnel. So to remove that disadvantage that we are not utilizing that 2 meter or 3 meter area. So to remove that disadvantage, we had switched over to the horseshoe tunnels or horseshoe shape. So in that we have the combination of that curved portion also. That curved portion will help in resisting, but at the same time we are making the invert level flat, which will help in reducing the earthwork for making the invert flat. Okay. And the application, you can use it for any purpose. You can use it for carrying water also in case of irrigation or in any dam project, or you can use it for transportation purpose of your vehicles also in roads and railways. And I told you there is a slight difference between the horseshoe and modified horseshoe. The difference is the area or the dimensions of the tunnel. So horseshoe, if you see the area and the diameter, they are given in terms of the the area and the perimeter, they are given in the terms of the diameter of your tunnel. And in modified, the area is a bit more, okay, and it is given in terms of radius. So there is some just dimensional difference between horseshoe and modified horseshoe, but the function of both the types, it is the same. And an example for it, this is a photograph of a horseshoe shaped tunnel. The name is Ahir Kheda tunnel, and it is not used for transportation. This tunnel is used as a main canal for this project, Indira Sagar irrigation project in Madhya Pradesh in India. Okay. So you see the horseshoe shape is very well clearly seen in this, and as I told you, you can use it for any purpose. So here they have used it for carrying water through a main canal. So this is the horseshoe type tunnel. The next type based on the shape is the D shape. Now from the name itself you can very well guess that what a D shape is going to be. It is actually a D just placed vertically. So again, if I divide it into two portions, so the roof portion or the roof section, it is exact semicircular in shape. But now, as compared to the horseshoe, the walls are not straight. So the walls are not curves, but they are straight. Okay, so you can see you have exactly straight walls, and the invert is also more flat than the horseshoe shape. Okay. Now, this type of tunnel, they are suitable in hard rock because what I told you is, or you can just keep this logic. Suppose there is a soil, you all have studied retaining wall. So suppose this is the soil and I have just placed some vertical barrier like this. Okay. And if I calculate or analyze the pressure which is exerted by this soil on this vertical barrier, so that pressure will be many times higher than this scenario in which you have a retaining wall and the shape of retaining wall is something like this. Okay. Or the chances of failure of any of this type or type 1 or type 2. So in this, the chances of failure are more in type 1 because this shape itself is unstable. So same is the case with your tunnels also. If you have a circular shape, okay, if it's complete circle, so whatever are the pressures acting on the walls of the tunnels, so they will be resisted quite good. Okay? But as compared to that, if you just have this kind of shape in a tunnel, so the pressure on these walls will be extreme, and then you will need to do something about it. It's not like you will directly excavate and it will fall. So in that case, we go for lining into a tunnel. Yeah, but again, that lining will use up all the space that you have excavated. So again, there is a waste of, or there it becomes uneconomical. So that's why, as much as possible, we go for a curve shape. But now, if you don't have that kind of strata over there, okay, if you have a hard rock, so in hard rock there is no need to go for a curve shape because the semicircular or the D shape will also do. So again, I'll go back to the same figure over here. So here you see this extreme blood photo, the tunnel in hard rock. So it is a tunnel in hard rock, but it is also a D-shaped tunnel. So you can clearly see the shape that the walls are vertical and the roof is semicircular. Now, and again, if you see, you can correlate with the description written in the slide also, that these tunnels are excavated in hard rock. The only purpose is that in hard rock, the resist its own pressure. Okay? So these walls, they will not fail even if they are vertical. They will withstand the pressure because the rock has that much capacity. So that is the this point that I am saying, okay, suitable in hard rock. And then if you talk about the advantage over the horseshoe, the main advantage is the invert level. Okay. See, what we do in a tunnel is we excavate something from the earth crust. Okay. And that excavation, it is a quite costly affair. Okay. It takes a lot of money, man, and material with it. So if you are excavating it by investing so much, so there is no point in again filling it, or in case of an invert level, if you are excavating a huge tunnel and if you have to again fill it with 20% soil so as to make the invert level flat, so there is no use in that. Okay, so you are wasting the money. So instead of that, if you go for such a shape which already gives you an invert level, a flat one, so that is going to be economical one. So based on why you are going to use that tunnel or why you are constructing that tunnel, the purpose for it, then you will decide what is the shape of the tunnel. Okay? It's not the other way around, that you first decide the shape and then you decide the application. First you decide why you are going to construct that tunnel, what is the purpose, and then you select the shape accordingly. Because each shape has its own advantages and disadvantages. Alright. So that's the main advantage over the horseshoe, that you get a more width of the invert and more working floor also. Yeah. And yeah, in circular, you have to fill this. Okay, that's one thing, but also the width that you get for working, that is less in case of circular because you have curved edges. So that disadvantage is also removed in D-shaped tunnels. Okay. And one more advantage from the concrete technology point of view, that when you do a concreting for a circular or a horse shape, due to that curved shape of your walls, your concrete, it tends to segregate. You know what a segregation is? Segregation of concrete. Segregation of concrete is nothing but concrete is a mixture of cement, coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, and water, and if necessary, some additives. But what happens is, if it is segregated, or when we say it is segregating, that all the cement slurry, the mixture of cement and water, it is separated, suppose on the top or one side, and then all the coarse aggregate or the solid material, it gets segregated on another side. So that is nothing but segregation of concrete, and that is possible when you have curved portion. Okay. So your circular and horseshoe shape, that will give a chance for the concrete to segregate, and that is not going to be the case in case of a D-shaped tunnel. Okay. So this is an example again for a D-shaped tunnel. I have taken it from a railway engineering site. So it's a tunnel in Liverpool, United Kingdom. It's an old tunnel, and you can see it's perfectly a D shape with some arches and all that on the top. Okay. Then the next shape is egg or egg shape and elliptical shape, not or, sorry. So egg shape or elliptical shape. Now you know what an egg shape is. Okay, you know what an egg looks like. So egg shape and elliptical shape. Both of them might look almost same, but there is a bit difference. If I just enlarge it, egg shape, it looks something like this. Okay, whereas the elliptical, it looks something like this. Okay, so there is a bit difference, but the application is almost same. That's why I've clubbed these two, egg shaped and elliptical shape. So they are used in locations where you have a stratified rock or a soft rock or closely laminated. Now these terms, closely laminated or stratified rocks, this you must be aware from your engineering geology, where you have different kinds of formation in your earth crust. So stratified is nothing but when your rocks or the strata, it is formed in layers. So that is stratified rocks, and closely laminated means you have a very small or a very thin layers or laminated layers. So example for that is mica. So if you recall something about mica mineral, so that is in laminate. You can just peel off each layer of that mica. Okay? So if you have such kind of rocks in your alignment, then you go for a X shape or an elliptical shape. And again, they are good at taking this pressure, external pressure and tensile forces. Okay. And the main thing about this shape is X shape or elliptical shape is the velocity does not reduce with reduction in discharge. Okay. That is, if I am going to use them for water supply or sewage supply, will more focus on sewage discharge. So whatever sewage is collected, if you use circular pipes, so what happens is if the discharge decreases, suppose in the off-peak hours or during midnight, so midnight there is almost very negligible discharge of sewage from the households. So due to that, total discharge in the pipeline, it will be less. And if discharge is less, the velocity will go on decreasing. And if velocity decreases, the solid particles in your sewage, they will get a chance to settle down in the pipe itself. Okay? So that will reduce the efficiency of that pipe. Okay? And maybe if this happens for a prolonged period, there is a deposition which solidifies, okay? Or it goes on just compacting. So due to that, the circular pipes have to be cleaned regularly. Okay? So that is not the case in case of in this X shape or elliptical shape. So the shape itself is such that whatever is the water over here, so that water, it will never let the solid particles in it to settle down. Okay. So that's why it is very much suited for carrying sewage. Okay. And photo for it, if I show you, so on the left side, what I've done is I've shown you the combination of the line diagram and the actual one. So the figure number 1A and 1B, these are egg-shaped tunnels. Okay, so you can see the shape of the egg, and the smaller radius part or the smaller section, it is kept as an invert level, because if it is kept as an invert level, then only your discharge or the velocity is not going to decrease in this section, and then there will not be a deposition of your solids. Okay. So if you keep it the other way around, if you keep this larger cross section as the invert level, so there the velocity can go on decreasing because the water is getting more area to flow. Okay. So that's why it's kept in this inverted shape. You can see the photograph here also. So basically the old type of sewage networks, if you study, So in that you'll find predominantly these kind of shape. Nowadays, everywhere you see the sewage pipelines, they are precasted and they are circular in shape, but they need cleaning and they do have this tendency to get clogged. Okay, you might have seen that in the urban scenario as well in cities that very often the drainage it gets clogged. Now it gets clogged due to many reasons, but one of the reason is that circular shape itself it is inviting trouble for the solids which can settle down, and that is not the case in this shape of elliptical or egg. Okay. So that's why the old tunnel systems or old sewer system it were predominantly having these shapes. And if you see the figure number 2A and 2B, so again you'll see the elliptical shape over here, and the same you can see in the figure 2B also. And this figure on the extreme right, the third figure or third photo, I had shown this before also when I was discussing conveyance of amenities. So there also I had told you that we'll discuss it later also. Sorry, here you can see this egg shape is there, okay, and you also have an elliptical shape. So that network itself it is very good for traveling, transporting your sewage. And the last one that is rectangular shape. So obviously rectangular shape again now. Till now, whatever shapes you have seen, so now you know what are the advantages of having a curved wall or a vertical wall, what are the disadvantages. So rectangular shape, it's a perfect straight edges on all sides. The roof is also straight, the walls are also straight, the invert is also straight. Okay. So here if I go on classifying the section, so this is the roof, this is the invert, and these are the walls. So now everything is exactly straight. So this kind of tunnel is going to be susceptible to failures if you don't provide a proper support to it. So the proper support is provided by this agents, that is you have a cement lining. Now if you see the cement lining, it is almost like a slab that you are constructing. So again now this becomes an uneconomical affair because you are excavating a whole lot of area. Okay, you are excavating this much thing, and from that again you are covering it with concrete or you are utilizing some area for supporting. So again obviously it becomes uneconomical. So why to use it or where to use it? So you can use it again where you have a hard strata. So if you are using it in a hard strata, there is no need of this concrete lining. So remember this in case of tunnels, wherever you encounter a hard strata, so in that case, you can go for vertical walls or vertical or horizontal roofs only because that hard strata itself is capable of taking the load or pressure from the adjoining ground or earth. Whereas if you have a soft soil or a medium type of soil, it is not hard, it is a crumbly type of rock. So there you should go for either horse shape or circular shape, horseshoe shape or circular shape, because the curved portion that will provide us bit stability, and then obviously you have to provide a lining to it so that it doesn't fall again. Okay. But in that case, the lining will be less as compared to the lining required for vertical sections. So the same I've written here that this proves to be costly, uneconomical, as they are completely made of RCC. Okay. It's like a box you are making of RCC. So if you have seen the underpasses which are there near our college, the one where your vehicles go from the bottom side and then you have a railway track going from top. So that is a perfect rectangular shape box, and the whole box it is made up of concrete. Okay. So as it is costly, the depth you have to compromise on depth aspect. So you can't build a huge depth tunnel. You can't build a deep tunnel over there. So even if you see this grade separators in PCMC area, so you can say that they are kind of tunnel, but I told you that it's not actually a tunnel, it's an underpass. But if you consider that as a tunnel as well, so the depth is not much, and that's why you see many of the times there is a height restriction at the entry itself. So there is a barricade at the entry level, and then they say specify what should be the height. So suppose 4 meter is the limit. So above 4 meter, if your vehicles go, so they are going to be get stuck in here. This has happened a lot of time. If any of you follows the news in PCMC, so in the grade separators of PCMC, a lot of times the vehicles or the huge containers, they have got stuck due to the less height. Okay. So that you should keep in mind. And for this purpose, they are best suited as a pedestrian underpass. Okay. So for letting the pedestrian cross from one side to another. So whatever is the subway, so many of the subways, they are preferred as a rectangle because of this disadvantage, or you can see this point of a rectangular shape. So this is all with the shapes of the types of the tunnel based on the shape, and this is one example for rectangle tunnel or rectangle shape. So you see it's a perfect rectangle. So it's a harbor tunnel in US. And then based on another, or the last type of classification that you have is based on alignment or position of tunnel. So now till now what we have seen is type of tunnel based on its purpose, that why we are using it, or based on it in what type of strata we are going to excavate. We have hard rock, soft rock, or underwater. And then we see we had seen the type of tunnel based on the shape, that what is the actual cross section of that tunnel. Now a bit different from that is this classification is based on the alignment or position of tunnel. In the mountain ranges where actually you are locating this tunnel or positioning this tunnel, that is the basis of the classification over here. So the first one is off-spur tunnels. So this off-spur tunnels, now these are very short length tunnels, might be just a few few tens or 20 or 50 meters is the length of the tunnels. Okay, 50 to 100 meters might be the length, and it is very short. Okay, they are basically for negotiating minor local obstacles. So those are off-spur tunnels. So if you have a huge mountain, okay, and if the topography is such that this mountain, if you see it in 3D, this I am showing you the front view. If you see that what is the extent of this mountain behind, so it is not that much, but it is also not economical to cut this whole thing. So what we do is, in that case, we go for a tunnel over here, and that tunnel is just for a 50 meter or so, 50 meter or 100 meter or so. So that is nothing but off-spur tunnels. Second, you have saddle or base tunnels. Now saddle or base tunnels is nothing but, if I show you the diagram, so you have again a mountain, and then you have a base tunnel or a saddle tunnel which is going like this throughout the base of the mountain. I'll discuss on this a bit detail in the next slide. For now, just remember saddle. Saddle is nothing but, you know what a saddle is. Suppose you have two mountains. Okay, you have mountain ranges like this. So saddle point is nothing but the lowest point between the two mountains. Okay. So that is the saddle point, or also if the depth is more, then we call it a valley. But if the depth is not more, then we call it a saddle. It looks like a saddle on the back of a horse. So that is the saddle or the base tunnel. Then you have slope tunnels, which are nothing but, slope tunnels are the ones which are, you have gradient inside the tunnel itself, and that's a pretty steep gradients. So those are the slope tunnels. And then you have spiral tunnels. Spiral tunnels are in which you have the actual curves, very sharp curves inside your tunnel itself. Okay. So I'll discuss on these two in detail in the next slides, okay, with the help of an example. So in Switzerland, there is this tunnel, Gotthard Base Tunnel. Okay. It's the longest railway tunnel in the world. If you see at the bottom of this figure, you have a list of world's longest rail tunnels. And if you see the one which I'm talking about, Gotthard Base Tunnel, it's in Switzerland. So it's 57 kilometers in length. 57 is quite a considerable length for a railway tunnel. Okay. So this Gotthard Base Tunnel, it is constructed as the name goes, it's a base tunnel, so it is constructed at the base of a mountain or base of the one of the mountain ranges. You must have heard of Alps, which is there in Switzerland. So in one of the area, you have this Gotthard base tunnel, and the peculiarity is, as it is the longest, it was also most difficult to construct, and it took almost 17 years for construction. It started construction in 90s something, and it opened for traffic or opened for railway in somewhere around 2016. So it took 17 years, 2016 or 17. Okay. They have written its schedule, but it opened a bit early in 2016 itself. So this is an example of a base tunnel. You can just go on the internet and search for it, Gotthard base tunnel. It's quite interesting how it was constructed. So this is the topography over there. So it's the Alps mountain. Those are it's a snow-clad region. Okay, there is a heavy snowfall, and there the valleys or the mountain ranges are too high, okay, in the European continent over there. So this is the yellow color alignment. What you see, dark or bold yellow color alignment. So that is the alignment for Gotthard base tunnel. And previously, whatever red color you see, yeah, I'll just erase the red color which I had traced, so there is no confusion. Okay, so whatever is this red color line you see, that was the initial alignment of the railway over there. So you see there were a lot of curves in it, and it was not passing through any tunnel, but it was going through the open areas. Only the tunnel, the old tunnel, was for this much stretch. So as I told you, it's in a snow-clad region, so there is heavy snowfall in Switzerland. So every time some of these sections or some of the portions of this route, it was getting disturbed to this heavy snowfall. So the solution was that they came up with a tunnel, but the length was so much that they required a lot of duration to go through it. Okay, and again, this is the diagrammatic cross section that I've tried to show. So whatever this ups and downs you see, that is the actual heights of the mountains through which the tunnel is going in. Okay. And as I told you, it's a base tunnel, so the tunnel is at the extreme bottom of your mountain range. Okay. So you see, they have also given that what was the type of excavation that they went for excavating this type of tunnel. So they used TBM, tunnel boring machine, as well as the dynamite. Dynamite is nothing but the explosion kind of thing. So the explosion and excavation was done simultaneously along with the TBM. So this is a type of base tunnel. And then an example for spiral tunnels. So again, I have taken an example from European subcontinent. So this is the map. Now they have written in German, so I'll just write it. So it's a map of a border area of Germany and Switzerland. Okay. You can see the border, it is depicted by this line. And near this, you have a railway line. Okay. And now here, though there are tunnels, but these tunnels, if you see, whatever is the red color, whatever is written in red color, those are names of the tunnels. Okay. And there, if you see, the tunnels are itself in a very, you can say, almost a 360-degree curve is given to them, especially this one, if you see. Okay. So you say 360 turn, but 360 it is in plan. But actually, when you see, so while moving in 360, it is also climbing some gradient. So that's the way you are getting a 360 view in the plan section. Okay. So this alignment, it is known as a pigtail line. Okay, pigtail, because if you see a pig's tail, it is sort of like this. Okay. So similar to that, it looks, or the railway alignment, it looks at some location, it looks like a pigtail. So that's it. That's why it is given pigtail line, and it is from a Wutach Valley Railway. It's in Germany. So from that section, or in that section, you can mainly find this spiral kind of tunnel. Okay. So spiral is actually in the plan you can see such kind of thing, but it's not like they are crossing here. They are not crossing. If you see in the side view, so it is at a different level. Okay, so it is something like this, that while taking a turn, it is also going up the gradient. So that's why it is known as a spiral tunnel. So I hope it has cleared some idea about how actually a spiral tunnel or base tunnel looks, because the photographs of such thing or actually a base tunnel, you will not recognize it if I just click a photograph inside Gotthard tunnel. You will not come to know anything other than the cross section of the tunnel itself. And same is the case with the spiral tunnel also. So that's why I have to show you the drawings or the maps. So this is all with the classification of the tunnels or the types of tunnels. So we have seen a variety of category in the classification. So we saw classification based on the purpose, classification based on the material met during excavation, classification based on the shape, and lastly the classification based on alignment of the tunnel or position of the tunnel. So we'll stop here for today.